That's a proper day of test match cricket. Third session, final session comes to an end on day two at Lords. It sees England come to a close of play at 119 for three wickets all falling in that session too early on, one towards the end of play. There's still 245 runs behind. We look back at that and see where this game stands, where it's headed into what's a pivotal day in any test match, day three on ESPN Cricket for Match Day with Steve Harmison and VVS Laxman. Laxman, where does this game stand? Is it in the balance? Or can you think of either team that may be more satisfied at the end of 2 days' play?
I still feel that it's in balance, because till the time Joe Root is there on the wicket, England will be backing themselves to get close to Team India's total. And Johnny Bairstow also showed good form in Nottingham, and he's also looking solid and very positive as far as his foot movement is concerned. So I think these two men on the crease for England are very, very important. Also, not to forget that Moeen Ali is back, Sam Curran is in good form. So they've got depth as far as the batting department is concerned, and it's a great opportunity for Joss Butler to showcase his talent at the home of cricket. But having said that, anything can happen. Again, just like the way England started off the day by taking the overnight set batsman KL Rahul and then getting Ajinkya Rahane out and had a wonderful start to the second day's play. I'm sure tomorrow's first hour will probably dictate which team is ahead in this test match.
You just think that that third wicket that fell, had it not been Burns and had it been Joe Root, whether we would have
Perfect.
had a different sort of conversation. But that's just how tall he stands, arguably from both sides as a batter in this series. Steve, 1 run short of what would be a third consecutive 50 plus score. So with Joe Root not out, do you still think England would say, that's a good day for us?
Yeah, I think it's England's day, but I agree that the game is in the balance. I think the game's in the balance because of one man, because of Joe Root. If Joe was one of the three England batsmen out, I think Virat Kohli would be enjoying a good night's sleep and thinking, right, we can get a very, very good lead tomorrow. But I think while Joe's there, I think England getting the wickets they got, I think England have arrived at the ground this morning, thinking we need a good day. And I actually think they've had one. I thought India bowled some good lines, some good lengths. Probably could have been a bit more disciplined. I think, but I think England will be happy with the where their day is at right now because the England captain is not out overnight and he's still going strong.
Yeah, there are a few things I'd like to recap here. There's quite a lot that happened in that session. The three wickets that fell. There were some curious tactics employed in terms of field settings and the choice of bowlers from Virat Kohli. Let's get into all that. But before that, just an observation, Steve. I'd like you to weigh in on what it's like. The surface is like. Has getting wickets gotten, or has wicket taking gotten tougher now as this day goes on? It seems like that from the evidence of that last session.
Yeah, I think just the ball's getting a bit softer. I think England have batted a long time. I think England haven't got the runs on the board. You look, it's 119, but England have batted 45 overs. It's a long time England have batted. So the ball is now starting to get a bit soft. England will be looking to cash in tomorrow morning. There's not as much happening laterally off the pitch all through the air. The sun's been out at Lords. There's no lights on or anything like that we seen yesterday. So I think from the pitch point of view, I think the pitch has always been quite placid. It's been quite easy paced. We said it would be good to bat on today and probably tomorrow. So England will be looking to cash in on that. So from a surface point of view, I think England will be happy of what they're batting on. And again, like we said before, I think the game is poised, very, very nicely poised. It's in the balance. And the old cliche goes, tomorrow morning will be key, will be crucial. First hour was crucial this morning. If it goes England's way tomorrow, then I think we definitely have a chance of a one innings match for days 4 and day 5. But if India get off to a start like England did, then I think India will be looking to ascend, to get in the ascendancy and look to ram home the advantage and try and finish this game early.
Let's get both of you to now just break down that last session of play. Lakshman, how were India tactically for you? I was listening to Ajit Agarkar on commentary here in India, and he said Shami was the standout bowler. Could he have possibly bowled more? What did you make of India's tactics and approach in that last session?
Yeah, I definitely felt that Shami and Bumrah could have been used a lot more. But I think I get why Virat Kohli is using them in short bursts because we've discussed just now that how placid this wicket is. So you don't want to over bowl your strike bowlers. So you want to use them in short bursts, probably 3 or 4 overs. And the go-to bowler for Virat Kohli to bowl that long spells has been Mohammad Siraj, and he's been sensational right from the first over post tee. And I think it was a little disappointing not to see Ishant Sharma 100% as far as his rhythm is concerned, and we can understand because he missed the first test because of an injury, and sometimes it becomes very difficult for a bowler, that to an experienced bowler who's played more than 100 test matches, just to prepare in nets in training and then play a test match without having some match practice or match fitness. But overall, I just felt that Ishant Sharma was the only bowler who probably didn't look very effective, but the other three
Yeah.
looked really, really good and penetrative.
Yeah, ironically, Steve, it was Ishan that bowled the most until Siraj's last sort of spell, which gives him the most overs of the day. It looked like Kohli wanted to give Ishan Sharma as many overs. How was that a trick missed perhaps by not bowling more of Shami or even Bumrah, like Lakshman says?
Yeah, possibly, but I think Ishant looked a little bit short of a gallop, was what we'd say in England. That he was probably a little bit underdone going into this Test match. And I think Virat wanted to bowl him into a bit of form and get his limbs moving and make sure that his sort of movements are going well. It's a hard one because I think what you're looking for as a captain, you think if I'm going to bowl these guys in shorter spells, my strike bowler, I don't want him. I don't want him to sort of have to come on when Joe Root and Burns are going well. If he gets a wicket in his fourth over, his fifth over, and then I have to keep bowling and bowling him because obviously you want him to keep going. So I think it's a fine balance from a captain that you want to take a wicket and then bring your strike bowler on to make it very, very difficult coming in. I think it was a little bit like what it was on day one. It was the ball was put in the right area, and the ball was asked questions of the bat. But fortunately for the bowlers, the batsmen had all the answers, and on a plastic pitch, they played very, very well. So I don't think I could be too critical of the Indian bowlers. They went searching a little bit. Maybe it's got a bit both sides of the wicket, but no, I think in this Test match so far, there's been some very, very good batting, very, very good patience.
Hmm.
Had from the batsmen, and the bowlers have been up to the task, but because the pitch is a bit slow, that they haven't been able to find the edge that's actually carried, because we've seen a lot of balls go towards slip, but they haven't really carried to second or third or any of the other slips. So I think we can say it's been a good contest between bat and ball, and the bat has stayed patient and winning so far.
So, from what I gather from what both of you have said about Ishan, it's an interesting observation. I might be too harsh, Lakshman, if I say if he wasn't fit enough or if he didn't look like he was ready. Is that now an error to, in hindsight, perhaps to play him at this point, or is it fair and understandable to play him? There's also the Ashwin conversation that we can have side by side. Would India look a more potent attack now? I know hindsight, but would they look more potent with an Ashwin rather than Ishan Sharma, who doesn't quite look like he's match ready?
Well, it's very clear that Virat Kohli wants to play with four seamers, and he's
Yeah.
made it very clear about his intentions. As I told, I was really surprised not to see Ashwin in this Test match, because if at all any wicket will suit Ashwin's style of bowling, it is Lord's. Because of the forecast where it was going to be hot and sunny for the entire duration of the Test match, and Ashwin is more than capable to exploit the conditions, whatever is on offer, and trouble the English batsmen. But having said that, I think it's very difficult for a captain or a team management to judge whether a bowler is 100% fit or not. And the only way you can judge that is by showing faith in the bowler. And I'm sure that the experience Ishant Sharma has, the team management and the medical staff will ask Ishant Sharma how he's feeling. And whenever the bowler or whenever the player, as committed as Ishant Sharma, feels that he's fit, you back that judgment. And I think the more he bowls, the better he will get. And it's not that he has leaked a lot of runs and suddenly you will find that
Sure.
probably tomorrow or probably in the second innings, he may be your strike bowler and he may be a bowler who Virat Kohli will go to if they require wickets. And also his track record at Lords has been fantastic. One good thing is he was able to bowl those long spells. If it would have been a problem, if at all, while bowling those long spell, if at all, again, the injury recurred, then it's going to be a massive problem or issue for Team India. But that didn't happen. I think the more he bowled, the better he got.
All right, fair enough. Now let's hold on because, yes, like Lakshman points out, Ishan loves the second innings. It's the fourth innings that he got those 7 wickets in 2014. So we'll see how things go. Still plenty of time in this innings. Let's look back at those 3 wickets, though. And as we were ending our tea time chat, Steve Harmison was almost, transferring the frustration of Dom Sibley while we were discussing it. And I look back at it, Steve. I know you're not a batter, but you look at that and you think, gee, that doesn't look good.
No, I'm not a batter, but I think I'd have played a better shot than Dom Sibley. No, that's poor. Look, from an opening batsman's point of view, that's a horrendous dismissal. To hit the ball in that area from that line, when your feet are pointing in one direction, your head's pointing in another direction, his hands were like so far down the leg side, it looked horrendous, and we can all comment on. He got 18 off 133 balls in the first innings. He batted a whole session for 18. That's only a good start if you kick on and do what Keir Rowell did and catch the scoring rate up and get a big 100 and you get your team into a match-winning position. That's just a poor shot, and the hole, unfortunately for Dominic Sibley, is getting deeper. He's actually 3/4 of the way down the hole. That Zach Crawley's just been sort of eased to one side from. So pressure is on Dom Sibley, and getting out like that, sorry, it doesn't look good.
That's twice in this series already in 3 innings that he's got out in similar fashion, Lakshman.
Yeah, and I think it was good captaincy and great execution of the game plan from Mohammad Siraj because there was a catching mid-on and a catching mid-wicket. And just seeing the technique of a batsman and as a bowler, as a captain, you come up with the game plan, and I think that's why I always emphasize that having a good basic foundation as far as your technique is concerned is very critical if you have to perform consistently at the highest level. Now, that his leg is going across, his head is falling over, whereas the ball is coming onto the stumps, and there is no other option but to play around his legs, and that's been the problem from Dom Sibley. And majority of the time, the ball will be traveling in the air. You cannot control and keep it down, and that's why I think it was fantastic captaincy and great execution of that plan from Mohammad Siraj. And this is going to be a problem for him because if at all the ball is on the off stump, outside the off stump and coming back in, with this technique and with this trigger movement and the shuffle he has, there's always going to be that bat and pad gap which is also going to be created, just like the way he got out in the second innings in Nottingham. So overall, as an opener, his strength is his patience. And I think he will struggle with the technique against quality bowlers.
What about that for a comeback for Hasib Hamid? Poor Hasib Hamid, Steve.
I'm not going to be critical of Hamid. Yeah, he played horribly down the wrong line. He literally missed a straight ball. If you want to be sort of brutally critical, but here's a guy who hasn't played a game for 5 years. A guy who had been sacked by his home county and had to go and sort of reinvent himself somewhere else. He fielded 127 overs, waiting for his chance to go back out into the Test arena after working so hard to get back going, and he's just missed a straight ball. He's got heavy-footed. His head was going towards the ball. His front pad was going towards the ball. It just didn't go far enough, and he missed a straight ball. So, but good bowling by Siraj. I'd always tell any young bowler, if you can hit, and this was a tip I got very early in my career off the great Javagal Srinath when he came to Durham. If you can get the ball to go back onto off stump, in and around the knee roll of the pad at pace, you've got a great chance of getting a wicket first ball. And unfortunately for Hamid, he couldn't get his pad in the way to give him half a chance, and he was bowled neck and crop. So good bowling by Siraj, and he was on a roll then, and England were in trouble.
What we're also seeing, Lakshman, is Siraj just making a statement of sorts. If Kohli at some point has to pick 3 seamers, then there's a pretty tough call that has to be made on whether Siraj is higher up in the pecking order than perhaps even an Ishant Sharma.
He is definitely at the moment. The way he bowled today was just fantastic. And also, I was very impressed with him, the way he bowled in the first test as well. And I think he's making a statement. I just love his attitude, the energy he has, and each and every ball, he gives more than 100%. And the best thing is, I think he's got a lot more control in his bowling today than compared to the first innings in Nottingham. And he's not desperate, while some of his appeals look, very, very, where he shows the desperation. But I think as far as hitting those lengths or lines are concerned, I don't see that he's losing his patience. And I just love his attitude. It's fantastic to see a youngster knowing that it's a big opportunity for him, knowing that there's no better place for him to showcase his talent after what he has done in Australia. And in England is this kind of a tool for him, which can be a breakthrough series for him. And I'm sure that his career can just progress after his good performance on this tour. So he realizes that, and he's got the backing of his captain, and I'm sure the team management, and he's just reposing a lot of faith in himself. And he's just so aggressive and energetic. It is great to see that.
Yeah, he's got a bit too much backing, you think, of his captain. You mentioned
well, as far as the reviews are concerned, definitely.
Yeah, how do we fix that? How do you fix that?
I mean,
reviewing.
Yeah, no, I think we can joke about that, Raunak, but that's a very important element in Test match cricket. I still remember, I can never ever forget the way Australia lost that Test match at Headingley. If Tim Payne wouldn't have taken that review of Nathan Lyon, when Jack Leach, the ball was clearly pitching outside the leg stump, and he wasted the review, and immediately the next over, Stokes was plumb in front of the wicket, and they could have eventually won the Test match. So I think taking that review and being very careful how and when to use it is very, very critical. I just feel that it became very chaotic, everyone gathering together, and I think that just adds to the confusion. The bowler is going to have the emotions. He feels that each and every ball is hitting the pad or inside it, it's a wicket. But I think that is where the captain has to be very calm. He has to have trust on a couple of people who have got a very clear vision of how the action is taking place, and then take a very, very composed and calm decision. You can't be emotional when you're taking the reviews. Because this reviews can cost you a Test match, like we have seen at Headingley.
Yeah, absolutely. Pertinent point. Now, Steve, you talk about emotions in a review. You think of the two most emotionally charged people in the Indian team, and you'll say Siraj and Kohli. And so much so that Rishabh Pant happens to be the voice of reason on occasion. I mean, that in itself is ironic. But it's something that we need to fix.
It's like a Punch and Judy show, isn't it? There's something happening every time. There's it's like a cartoon. There's something going on, and it's crazy when you've got that combination. Then you've got Rishi Pant in the middle of it, who it just seems to me that he's not even watching. You're thinking, you can see Kohli looking at him and going, was that straight? And Pant might turn around and go, I don't know, I wasn't watching. It was like, it didn't come to me, so I wasn't watching. And it's brilliant. I love Siraj. I think he is brilliant. He's a breath of fresh air for the Indian cricket team. He's like what VVS says, his energy and everything that goes. I think he's asking questions now of the selection panel, because who do they pick if they do come on a wicket where they're going to need the second spinner. So he has been a breath of fresh air, and if he can keep that up, it's great energy. He lifts the rest of the field as well. And the two bits of advice I would give Mohammad Siraj would be: one, never change, don't change, keep that emotion going. And two, learn how to play the short ball, because if you keep going and get in the batsman's face, boy, them bowlers are going to come back hard at you, and you're going to cop a lot of bounces when you actually come out with a bat. So, hey, keep going the way he's going, because I think he's been a breath of fresh air for the Indian cricket team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. To be fair, Rishabh Pant was the one who was trying his best, almost trying to push his captain's hand down. Don't make the sign, don't make it. So for what it's worth, today he was paying attention. But anyway, it's all light and funny at the end of it. But just as before we wrap up, we'll just also wrap up the Rory Burns dismissal. Now, Mohammad Shami getting that wicket, Laxman, is that also giving us some evidence of what tomorrow's approach, a line of attack could be? We spoke in the first test how India like to attack the stumps when it comes to these English batters.
Yeah, and we saw also in Nottingham that after probably the 35th or 40th over, the ball starts to move a lot more. And I think I hope that the Indian bowlers are maintaining the ball well, because while the ball can get old and there's not much of grass cover on this surface, or even if it's not green, it's probably more brownish. So which means that it can be a little abrasive. So maintaining that ball and allowing it to reverse will be very critical. And once it starts reversing, all the four fast bowlers can trouble the English batsmen, because all four of them, just by default, the biomechanics or the way they release the deliveries, I just feel that will trouble the English batsmen whenever the ball starts to reverse. I mean, all of them are great exponents of reverse swing, and no one better than Mohammad Shami. We've seen that even on placid, slow Indian wickets, how he troubled the South African batsmen whenever the ball started to reverse. He beat them by the swing and also by pace. And I think that should be the way forward tomorrow, if at all there's no conventional swing on offer.
Saw a bit of reverse in that wicket of Rory Burns. Steve, is that, can we expect more of that tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I think it was like Vivier says, we talk about them bowling straight at Trent Bridge and wanting to bowl straight. This is the plan. It's very difficult to bowl straight, get your angles right, especially if you keep going from nursery end to pavilion end with the slope that goes with loads. But I thought Mohammad Shami was rewarded for his first spell. I thought he bowled very, very well. I thought he bowled tight, and the ball, the ball, it sometimes looks as though it's reversing, but actually it's not. It's just going down. It's going with the slope. So it'll be interesting to see if it does reverse, how that will be a more difficult thing for the England batsman. But Shami, I thought, was excellent, and if he does get it to reverse, it's just another another good tool for the Indian bowlers to have against a batting unit which I think is a little bit more in depth than the Indian one. So a big morning for Joe Root, and if he can hang around, then he's probably got a little bit more depth in the batting to hang around with him.
All right, let's pick up this conversation tomorrow. You think we'll have a clear picture of where this test is heading by lunch tomorrow, depending on how the session goes on day 3 in the morning? Big thank you to VVS Laxman and Steve Harmison. More from them on day 3 on ESPN Cricket for Match Day. Do join us. Then still a lot of runs that England trail by 245 to be precise, and we'll see how India Virat Kohli employs as far as his four-seamers are concerned in the morning session, which turned out to be a key one on day 2 as well. Join us at lunchtime tomorrow. Bye.